Hi, teens. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You know how your dad's a dick and won't let you play with his fancy hammer and he has two ravens? Well, Thor knows all about that. His dad's a dick, he has two ravens, and he won't let him play with his fancy hammer. Worthy or not, how much does that hammer weigh? Hi, I'm future Einherjar and Norse cosmology enthusiast Dan Umphin. This is the Doomcast, and it's hammer time. Mjolnir is the hammer of Thor. Its name means crusher. In Norse myth, he was the only one able to wield it, and he had to use a special belt and special gloves in order to do so. Many of his adherents would form amulets out of pieces of metal in the shape of Thor's hammer to ward off evil and to protect them against infertility and things like that. In the mainstream Marvel continuity, however, not many people other than Thor have been able to actually use Mjolnir. That's because it's made of a really heavy material called Yooooo. In the Marvel universe, Yooooo is an enchanted metal that the Asgardians use to make weapons. Where do they get Yooooo? The short answer is, who gives a shit? It's magic. The equally short answer is from Nidavellir, the realm of the dwarves. Similar to the origin of the hammer in Norse myth, Loki makes a bet with a dwarven smith named Eitri that he can't make items finer than the paper ship or the magic spear that he got from some other magic dwarves, and so they make him a super hammer with a short handle and a ring that duplicates itself. In the retconned origin of the hammer, and in the movie, Odin forced Eitri and his brothers to forge the hammer from the heart of a dying star, and in the movie, quote, in the heart of a dying star. So, let me say this, the preposition in is quite important, and it comes into play later. He's not asking for them to make it from a dying star, but apparently using the heat as a forge. So if the hammer was made from Yooooo in the comics, and forged in the heart of a dying star, in an enchanted forge, and they put a mystic enchantment on the hammer that not even someone like the Hulk can actually move it, unless they're actually worthy, then the actual weight of that hammer equals X, which is a number that is equal to either nothing or infinity, depending on and in relation to the relative strength of the wielder at the time. I don't actually know how to express this mathematically, because in college I majored in hobbits and vodka. So let's pretend, just for the fun mathematical experiment, that it actually was forged from a piece of a dying star. So that would be a neutron star, which was one of the most dense objects in the universe. It's so dense that it's short of a black hole, it's the only cosmic object that we can detect or observe with so great a density and gravity. So dense that one of these stars would fit neatly within the city limits of Philadelphia. So dense that a teaspoon of this would weigh as much as a mountain. So dense that even removing a portion of that dying star, that portion would undergo explosive decompression, explosive enough to destroy an entire planet, probably. So densely packed that, like Ben & Jerry's, you have to leave it in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes before it's even scoopable. So, we have to find volume of the actual hammer before we can calculate how much it actually weighs. So to easily calculate that, we have to take the metric values of an online prop that I found, one that's pretty similar to what it looks like in the movie. And that's 21.59 centimeters by 13.97 centimeters by 13.97 centimeters. So if we want to get volume, we cube that. It's area cubed, I think, if I remember. So 21.59 times 13.97 times 13.97, which comes out to 4,213.52 cubic centimeters. And because the metric system works so well, that's actually the same thing in milliliters. So if a teaspoon, which is 5 milliliters, actually weighs 10 million tons, then that means that every milliliter weighs 2 million tons. So that means that 2 million by 4,213.52 milliliters of volume means that that weighs 8.4 billion tons. 8.4 billion. This reference is 20 years old. As a matter of reference, the entire human population of the Earth weighs 316 million tons. So, there's no way this is a thing, right? Because if the gravitational force of an object like that actually existed, it would ruin the Earth. You couldn't put this in a room because it's going to fold the whole city in on itself, ruining your party, spilling your drink, wasting all of the little Smokies that Tony had in the crock pot that you were going to eat, and don't lie to yourself, you were going to eat all of them. Also, at one point Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted that Thor's hammer would weigh as much as 300 billion elephants. I have no idea how much 3 billion elephants weighs, but, and I'm saying it here, but Neil deGrasse Tyson is full of shit. Neil deGrasse Tyson is full of shit. Because the hammer was forged in the heart of a star, not from the heart of a star. And now that's a fine distinction, because since it's enchanted, and we're talking about the realm of magic, Neil deGrasse Tyson's expertise no longer registers here. Nor, actually, does my garbage math, because in 1991, Marvel published a trading card for Thor's hammer and said that it weighed 42.3 pounds. Now, that still seems kind of ridiculous to me, because a 42-pound hammer doesn't really hurt anything in Marvel. Iron Man and the Hulk take hits from mortars, missiles, they fall out of the sky, and that all hits a lot harder than 42 pounds. That's not going to tear a hole through a frost giant or actually come close to slowing a Hulk down at all. So, what does it actually weigh? I'm going to have to go ahead and side with Marvel Comics itself and say it's 42.3 pounds. That's insanely heavy for a regular hammer. It's outrageously dense for a piece of actual metal of that size, let alone a traditional melee weapon. It's a hammer that's enchanted. It comes back to him when he calls it. It opens dimensional gateways. It calls storms. It turns into a walking stick for some hippie doctor when he actually needs to have an alter ego. It's magic. Doesn't have to make sense. You know, I went online and I actually Googled for a gif of Thor in hammer pants and I couldn't find one. At the end of the day, Mjolnir is the hammer of Thor, whatever Thor that happens to be. And that, more than anything, is really contingent on how hard that hammer hits. Who's holding it? This is a fun thought experiment, but like a lot of things in comics, and especially a lot of things that involve magic, there's no real way to actually quantify exactly how much Thor's hammer weighs. Best description? It's heavy.